These are some of the craziest lottery rules around the world. You think lotteries are all the same? Think again. Just like jackpots come in all shapes and sizes, lottery rules are different from one game to another. But countries also have their own laws about lotteries. Some of these are pretty unbelievable, but trust us, they're all true. Number 20. You can't win the lottery if you're a person with a disability. Norway. This rule was put in place to protect people with disabilities from being exploited by others. But Norway is not the only country that has serious restrictions about who can and can't play. Just take a look at number 19. Can't play if you're in debt. Greece. In Greece, individuals with outstanding debts are prohibited from purchasing lottery tickets. This rule aims to discourage people from gambling in hopes of resolving their financial difficulties. We're not going to say if we agree with that idea or not. Let us know in the comments if you have strong feelings about it. But it might be worth mentioning American lottery winner Dennis Mahurin. Dennis had been homeless since 1978. He was living in a tent in the woods in Illinois in 2013 when he bought a lottery scratch card. We can only imagine how he felt when he realized it was worth $50,000. That's an incredible amount of cash, especially if you have none of your own. But instead of splashing out, Dennis did something different. He split his winnings between all his homeless friends. Alright, he also bought himself a new tent to sleep in and got some dental work done. But handing out $100 each to as many homeless people as he could was a good deed that a lot of people were really grateful for. So, should people down on their luck not be allowed to buy lottery tickets? You tell me. The next rule about who can't play the lottery might be even weirder though. Number 18. You can't win the lottery if you're a pregnant woman. China. This rule is based on the belief that winning the lottery could harm the unborn child. We're not sure about that. I think there's no better time to win the lottery than when you're pregnant. Think that's weird? It has nothing on the next rule. Number 17. Must be alive rule. Italy. Sounds obvious, right? Well, lottery winners must be alive to claim their prize. If a winner passes away before receiving their winnings, the prize is forfeited and goes back into the prize pool. Seems unfair? But don't think you can get away with that in America either. Christina Goodenow from Oregon bought a lottery ticket back in 2005, and incredibly, it was a jackpot winner. Christina was delighted to learn that she was now a millionaire. Except, that was the one big problem. While Christina had been the person who was standing in the store buying the ticket, the owner of the credit card she was using was her mother-in-law, and she definitely wasn't with Christina at the time. In fact, she wasn't with anyone. She died a year before. When lottery officials realized Christina had used her mother-in-law's card without permission, the courts ruled that Christina's lottery ticket was purchased fraudulently, and they took her million-dollar jackpot away. In other words, dead people should stay away from the lottery, no matter where they are in the world. So in Italy, you can't play the lottery if you're dead. But in this next country, choosing the winning numbers is not enough. Number 16. Must answer skill testing question. Canada. In Canada, winners of certain lottery games must correctly answer a skill testing question to claim their prize. This requirement is to ensure that the game is based on skill rather than pure chance, as purely chance-based games would be considered illegal gambling. Weird, right? In the US, everyone loves the lottery because it's based only on luck. Still, not everything about the lottery in America is perfect. Number 15. Go public and participate in press conferences to promote the game. USA. In some American states, you're not allowed to stay anonymous if you win the lottery. So, if you win the Powerball or megamillions, you better check if you can hide from the press or not. For example, in California, the lottery is required by law to publish the names of winners. In Idaho, it's even worse. All the details of your win are considered public. And those are just 2 states. You better check yours if you want to stay anonymous. And it's not just the US. In Canada, it's not just your name that gets published. Your marital status, the city you're living in, your job, and even your photo all get published in the papers. But if you're in Australia or the UK, you're allowed to choose to remain anonymous. They'll only throw a press conference for you if you ask them to. But if you have a choice, should you let everyone know you're a big winner? There's a pretty clear answer to that question. No.
Oh no!
Mavis Wanchik is one winner who found that out the hard way. As a Massachusetts resident, she wasn't allowed to remain anonymous when she became the winner of the historic $758.7 million Powerball jackpot, the biggest lottery win to date in 2017. It should have been a great moment for her, but instead, the moment her name was publicized, she found herself hiding in her own home. The media surrounded her house, and there were strangers coming from all over to knock on her door and ask for money. Soon, it got so bad that police had to permanently patrol her house to make sure the harassment stopped. She was forced to sell her house and try to disappear after that. Even her adult children were being asked for stuff. In other words, if you win the lottery and have the option to stay anonymous, that's the right choice. Number 14. You can't win the lottery if you're a priest or a nun. Italy. This rule is based on the Catholic Church's teachings against gambling, similar to South Korea. Sure, it kind of makes sense, but what they don't realize is that charities might be missing out. Last year, a monk from Thailand won the lottery. It's not illegal for them to buy lottery tickets, but their religion says they're not allowed to gamble. But this was different. He said he's been purchasing lottery tickets as a way to help street vendors who'd been losing money during the pandemic. He never expected to win, but he got lucky anyway. Sources don't seem to agree on how much he won. It was between 6 million and 18 million baht. If it was 18 million, that converts to about $750,000. There was no way he was keeping it all to himself. He started by giving most of it away to the temple. Still wanting to help the local street vendors, he gave 200 baht each to all of them. Then the rest he gave to local schools, government agencies, and private charities. He said he believed the money belonged to the angels, and he only won the lottery so he could help them give it to the right causes. So maybe letting truly religious people play the lottery is a pretty good idea. The next rule on this list isn't so much about who can play, it's more about what you can play. Number 13. Banned numbers, China. In China, certain numbers are considered unlucky due to their cultural beliefs and superstitions. As a result, lottery games often avoid using numbers associated with death or bad luck, which sounds similar to the word for death in Chinese. In America, people would probably accept that rule, but they wouldn't be happy about the next one. Number 12. Unclaimed prize redistribution, Sweden. In Sweden, if a lottery prize goes unclaimed after 1 year, the funds are redirected to various charitable causes instead of being returned to the prize pool for future draws. Imagine that! In the US, the lottery is all about those big rollover jackpots. But maybe that has something to do with the next rule on our list. Number 11. No taxes on winnings. In certain countries, lottery winners are not subject to income tax. This means that winners receive the full advertised amount without any deductions. You're probably wondering where these amazing places are that let you win the lottery tax-free. Well, the UK is one. There, winners don't pay tax. The betting companies are taxed instead. Seems like a brilliant system to me. A lot of European countries don't tax lottery winnings, including Germany, Iceland, France, and Denmark. And a surprising number of South American countries can join the tax-free list, including Uruguay, Chile, Bolivia, Argentina, and Colombia. Other outliers who aren't taxed are Canadians, South Africans, and weirdly, Russians. However, in other countries, lottery prizes are subject to income tax, which can significantly reduce the overall amount received. But we don't need to tell Americans that. Often, US jackpot winners take home less than half their jackpot after taxes if they choose a lump sum. Portugal, Spain, Italy, the Netherlands, Poland, and Brazil can all join them, although not all of them are taxed as much as winners in the US. The next rule on our list cuts costs for lottery players even further. Number 10. Free entry with purchase, Singapore. In Singapore, some lottery games offer free entry to players who purchase certain products or services. These free entries give participants a chance to win prizes without any additional cost. This is to encourage people to spend money on those things. In Colombia, you might want to be a little careful about spending money after you win the lottery though. Why? Because Number 9. No repeat winners. In Colombia's Baloto lottery, if a player wins the jackpot, they're not eligible to win the jackpot again for the next 3 years. This rule aims to distribute the prizes more evenly among the players. We can't help but think someone like Evelyn Adams would think that's pretty unfair. She's become a rare back-to-back winner of the New Jersey lottery, which she won 2 years in a row. Her 1985 win was the biggest one, a whopping $3.9 million. The next year, she won another impressive jackpot, taking home $1.4 million. That's gotta feel good, right? But it wouldn't have been possible in Colombia. On the other hand, that rule might have stopped Evelyn gambling away all of her winnings in the casino. And I do mean all of it. She ended up living in a mobile home after that, so we're not going to totally judge the rules in Colombia. Sounds a little too strict? Well, this next rule is way worse. Number 8. Limited ticket sales, Singapore. In Singapore's Toto lottery, ticket sales close 4 days before the draw or when all available tickets are sold out, whichever comes first. This rule ensures that the draw can take place on time. In 2012, a man named Zhang Guo was sentenced to 18 months in prison in China for buying lottery tickets after the drawing. Zhang had bought the tickets from a lottery seller who had already been informed of the winning numbers. Zhang claimed that he was unaware that the tickets were invalid, but the court found him guilty of fraud. This is not the only case of someone being jailed for buying lottery tickets after the drawing in China. In 2011, a woman named Wang Wan was sentenced to 15 days in detention for the same offense. So buying lottery tickets too late is seriously risky over there. And that's not the only weird rule in China. Most lottery rules only apply to one winner. But the next rule on our list is more about the greater good. Number 7. Winner sharing rule. In Spain's Christmas lottery, known as El Gordo, winners are expected to share their good fortune with others. For example, if an individual wins a significant prize, it is customary for them to distribute a portion of their winnings among friends, family, and even local communities. In fact, the El Gordo Christmas lottery in Spain took this to a new level a few years ago. The lottery has a ginormous prize pool, but it works a little differently from the lotteries you know. It's actually more like a raffle than buying a Powerball ticket, and this means prizes can be handed out in some interesting ways to thousands of people. In 2016, the town of Pinos Puente was struggling. In fact, almost a third of the town was unemployed. But when the El Gordo Christmas draw happened, 451 winning tickets were claimed in the town. The winnings were distributed to the residents. If you're thinking it's gotta be a tiny bit of cash, you're wrong. All the wins combined came to a total of 58 million. Not bad. So you can let everyone win, or you can make sure some people can never win, like the next rule on our list. Number 6. No lottery for tourists, Bhutan. In Bhutan, the national lottery is exclusively for Bhutanese citizens. Tourists and foreigners are not allowed to participate in lottery games. There are similar rules in Japan, known as the nationality requirement. It means that in Japan, only Japanese citizens are allowed to participate in the national lottery. Non-citizens and tourists are ineligible to purchase lottery tickets, unlike the US. Tourists in America will be pleased to learn that they can compete for those giant jackpots. One lucky winner of an American lottery wasn't actually American and was Elegio Kenny Garcia. Back in 1994, Elegio was staying in California as a Mexican immigrant. Even though he wasn't a US citizen, he was lucky enough to win a $27 million jackpot in the California lottery. Despite his immigration status, he was able to claim his prize, and he used it to start his own business. We're guessing those rules in Bhutan and Japan are there to keep the money in their country. But in Elegio's case, allowing him to win the lottery brought even more money into the US. Elegio spent his money wisely, but not all winners are that responsible. So, some lotteries have rules in place to help people not blow all their cash. Number 5. Monthly payment option, Brazil. In Brazil's national lottery, Mega Sena, winners have the option to receive their prizes in monthly installments rather than a lump sum payment. This installment plan is designed to help winners manage their newfound wealth responsibly. There's another similar rule in Argentina: monthly salary payments. In Argentina's Quintis 6 lottery, winners of the jackpot have the option to receive their prize money in monthly installments equivalent to a fixed percentage of the minimum wage. This helps ensure financial stability for the winners. That rule doesn't help anyone if nobody wins, though. The next rule on our list exists to make it even easier to win. We could all do with that. Number 4. Multiple winning numbers. Mexico. In Mexico's national lottery, Millete, players must match 6 numbers out of 56 to win the jackpot. However, there is also an additional 7th number called the revancha that offers a secondary prize tier. It's not a totally unique idea. There's a similar rule in a nearby country, extra ball rule, Chile. In Chile's Lotto lottery, an additional revancha ball is drawn after the main draw. Players who match this extra ball have the opportunity to win a supplementary prize, enhancing the chances of winning. Of course, there are other ways to increase your chances of winning, as the next rule on our list proves. Number 3. Magic words rule, Peru. In Peru's lottery game, Tinka, players must recite a specific set of magic words before purchasing their ticket. This rule is believed to bring good luck to the players. A little luck can go a long way, but the next rule on our list means players need a totally different kind of luck. Number 2. First come, first served basis, Philippines. In some lottery games in the Philippines, ticket sales are limited to a certain number of entries. Once the tickets are sold out, no more are available for purchase, leading to a first come, first served basis for participation. This rule encourages people to rush out and buy tickets early. We'll leave it up to you to decide if that's a good idea or not. For some people, they're happier without a ticket. That's because they can't stand waiting to hear if they've won or not. The next rule on our list takes care of that problem. Number 1. Instant win prizes, South Korea. In South Korea's lottery games, certain tickets offer instant win prizes, similar to scratch-off tickets. Players can immediately see if they have won a prize without waiting for their draw results. Think these are the weirdest rules about lottery games? And we're guessing you haven't watched this video yet. These are the absurd, strict rules that Powerball winners have to follow. Watch on to see 11 strict rules Powerball winners have to follow. Number 11. Don't lose your ticket. Maybe this one's obvious, but if you have a winning Powerball ticket, hold on to it. For big jackpots, you're going to have to bring that ticket in person to your state lottery commission if you want to collect. They don't keep track of who bought what ticket. If your dog eats it or it falls into a black hole, you are 100% out of luck. And if someone steals it, well, did you sign it? Because if you didn't, the person who stole it might just say it's theirs. That might be what happened with the $2 billion Powerball jackpot at the beginning of 2023. On Valentine's Day, a man named Edwin Castro handed in the winning ticket and took the lump sum payout of just under $1 billion. But now another guy named Jose Rivera claims that he's the one who should get the jackpot. Rivera says he bought the winning ticket from a service station, but then a guy named Reggie stole it from him. Did it really happen? Unknown. How did the ticket get from Reggie to Edwin Castro? Unclear. But the California Lotto stepped up to say if any crime was committed, that's none of their business. They just know Castro's the guy who handed in the ticket, so he's the winner. So sign your ticket and keep it safe. Then make your first big decision. Number 10. Pick your poison, lump sum or annuity. You have to choose between getting your money all at once or getting regular payments over 30 years. That's a tougher choice than it sounds like, because either way, you're not going to get the whole value of the jackpot. Buckle up. Say you won a $10 million jackpot. Do you take the lump sum payment or the annuity? If you take all your money now, they don't give you $10 million. The lump sum payout is usually just 61% of the jackpot. That's right, if you want it now, they're keeping 39% right off the top. A $10 million jackpot turns into a $6.1 million jackpot. So maybe you settle for annuity payments over 30 years. That way, you get every dollar of the jackpot, but most of it will come 10, 20, or 30 years from now. Inflation is going to mean that that money will be worth a lot less when you get it than it is today. Consider this. Inflation has made the dollar worth almost exactly half of what it was 30 years ago. So you should expect a similar hit to the purchasing power of a payment you get 30 years in the future. The Lottery Commission will invest the money for you, but they'll play it safe. They don't want to lose your money, but it won't grow as fast as inflation. You can almost certainly do better by investing it conservatively yourself. And you're not done losing money yet. Number 9. Pay taxes on your winnings. That's right, even though the money's coming straight from the government, you get to give some of it back right away as taxes. You'll have to pay federal, state, and local taxes on that big pile of income. The lottery holds back just under 29% to cover that if you're a U.S. citizen, but might owe even more depending on where you live. So, if you won that $10 million jackpot and took the lump sum, it already got knocked down to $6.1 million. Next, Uncle Sam and friends take their share. And you've got, let's see, a little under $4.5 million left. That's right, less than half of the jackpot that you actually get to keep. And don't even think about skipping out on those taxes. The government knows exactly how much money they gave you. But at least now, you get to spend your $4 million. And once you start spending your money, your life is probably never going to be that simple again. Which brings us to our next unofficial rule. Number 8. Hire an accountant and an attorney. It's time to hire some people to help you out. Guess what? You can afford it now. Don't be stingy here. Unless your big dream for winning the lotto was to spend all your time doing paperwork. You need help managing your money. Want to hear a scary statistic? 1 in 3 lotto jackpot winners go bankrupt. You want an accountant because every big thing you spend money on is going to make your taxes more complicated. And you need an attorney because you're going to have legal problems. Sorry. In fact, you should really find a lawyer before you even collect your jackpot. But once you collect, you need to get ready to get sued. When people hear that you hit the jackpot, a lot of them are going to try to get something out of you. And you want a lawyer from a big national firm, not someone who's worked with your family or friends. Because it might be your family or friends who sue you. Take Bud Post. He won the Pennsylvania Lotto in 1988. Then his girlfriend, who was also his landlady, sued him, saying Post had agreed to split the jackpot with her. The judge sided against Post, and he had to give up a third of his $6 million prize. Our next rule is one you might not think of, but it's non-negotiable. Number 7. You have to claim your prize in the state you played in. Does this one sound obvious? Well, different states have different rules about collecting your prize. After you bought your winning ticket, you don't get to shop around for the state with the best rules. But when you hear about this next rule, you'll understand why you want to. Number 6. The state gets to share your identity. Obviously, you've got to tell the Lottery Commission who you are so they can give you the money. The lottery then turns around and tells the public your name and how much you won. Some states even publish where the winner lives. It makes sense that the states want to do this. It's great publicity for the lottery. It proves they're actually paying the lottery and not just keeping everyone's money or rigging it for the commissioner and all their friends. But it sucks for the winners. If it makes you nervous to imagine everyone in your state finding out you hit the Powerball jackpot, that's not just paranoia. Lottery winners are many times more likely to be victims of robbery, kidnapping, and even murder. Like Gregory Birch Jr. In 2016, he won a $400,000 prize, not even one of the really big ones. Only 2 months later, a group of armed robbers broke into his house and killed him. He's just one sad example. Lately, more and more states have realized that announcing a lottery winner's name puts a giant target on their back. Now, 16 states let lottery winners stay anonymous. Delaware, Georgia, Illinois, Kansas, Maryland, Minnesota, Mississippi, Montana, New Jersey, North Dakota, Ohio, South Carolina, Texas, Virginia, West Virginia, and Wyoming. For some of these states, winners only get to stay anonymous if the jackpot is big enough. Florida and Arizona have a weird rule. In those states, winners can stay anonymous, but only for 90 days. After the 90 days, the winner's identity is a public record. So basically, you get a 90-day head start on anyone coming after you. But what if you live in one of the other 32 states? Are you just out of luck? Well, there's one thing you can do. Number 5. If you want to stay anonymous, set up a trust. That fancy pants lawyer you hired is gonna be clutch. Because here's a little cheat. The law in most of these states says it's a public record who collects the prize money. But they don't say the prize money has to be collected by a human being. A trust is kind of a legal entity that handles money. You can have your lawyer set up a trust, and then have the trust be the one who wins the lottery for you. In some states, this means the trust's name get made public, and you remain anonymous. In other states, it's just an extra layer of protection. People can look up who owns the trust if they really want to know. And in California, unfortunately, this trick just isn't allowed. You might want to think twice about buying your ticket there. No matter what you do though, bad luck is gonna find you. Which brings us to the next rule. Number 4. Get insurance. Get yourself some good umbrella insurance. No, that's not insurance in case your umbrella breaks. Umbrella insurance is liability insurance that kicks in where other insurance policies leave off. So, for example, if everyone on your block suddenly gets really clumsy and starts falling down in front of your house, and every personal injury attorney in town is beating on your door, your regular insurance will run out pretty fast. The extra insurance will keep people from bleeding you dry. That should go a long way to protecting you from people who want to take your money. But what about people you want to give your money to? Number 3. Decide how much to give away and stick to it. This is another rule that will keep you from losing all your money and all your friends. If you strike it big, you need to decide right away how much of the money you want to share. Will you give away 10%, 20%, 50%, 90%? Whatever that number is, you'll want to tell it to that big shot attorney you hired. They can set up trusts and foundations to give the money to charity, help your friends' kids through college, or whatever else you want to do. What you can't do is just give money to people whenever you feel like it, because people around you are going to act like you have infinite money, and you're probably going to feel like it's infinite too. But it's not infinite, and you'll find that out the hard way unless you follow the next rule. Number 2. Put up a safety net. The way to get set for life is to invest a big chunk of money and never, ever touch it. Wait, that doesn't sound right, but it's true. Remember that $4.5 million after tax payout we were imagining? You'd want to take, say, $2 million of that and invest it in something really boring, like an index fund or treasuries. That big pile of money will grow a few percent every year. You want to live off that extra and never touch the original pile. 6% a year isn't a crazy return, but 6% of $2 million is $120,000. That's a six-figure income. Most people have to work for that, but not you. But there's one more rule you have to keep in mind if you hit the jackpot. Number 1, don't expect it to solve all your problems. Of course, having a huge pile of money can solve a lot of problems. Sometimes the problem is that you don't have enough money. Having more money is great for that, but as we've seen, winning the lottery can create new problems. All that money can put a strain on your relationships. It can bring out the worst in people. It can bring out the worst in you. You've got to be careful. We already saw that a third of lottery winners go bankrupt. Lottery winners are also a whole lot more likely to overdose on drugs, get convicted of drunk driving, get charged with a felony, or commit suicide. So you have to keep your eyes open. Don't forget the things in your life that are really important. Hitting the Powerball jackpot can put you on top of the world, but if you don't follow the rules, you can end up falling even lower than you started.
The latest giant Mega Millions jackpot has been won, and it's a whopping $1.58 billion. At the time we put this video together, the winner still hasn't come forward. All we know is the ticket was bought in Florida. But what happens to the winner when they decide to claim their ticket? Let's take a look at these absurd, strict rules all Mega Millions winners have to follow. If you're the winner of the Mega Millions jackpot, here's what you have to do. Number 10. You might be required to trade your identity to claim the prize. You know how experts all agree you should stay anonymous if you win the jackpot? Unfortunately, you don't always have that option. Some states have laws that require the Mega Millions officials to hand over your personal information. Some states only let you stay anonymous if you win a ton of cash. Sadly, there are more states out there that require you to make yourself known to the public than states that let you remain anonymous. But most people don't know that even in the states where you can remain anonymous, you're still required to hand over certain identifying information to lottery officials before you can claim your prize. This is because they have to confirm your eligibility, like whether you were actually old enough to legally play the lottery. So either way, you're handing over your personal information in exchange for the money. But that's still better than the whole world knowing your name, right? Definitely. And some states want more than others. Some only publish your name. But in other places, other very personal information is published in the news for anyone to see. Sometimes they even publish where you live. That's pretty bad, because it exposes you to the worst dangers lottery winners have to face. Lottery winners are more likely to be targeted by scammers, kidnappers, and even killers than the average population. So you definitely don't want to openly tell the kidnappers where to find you. Luckily, in most cases, an attorney can help you set up a trust to claim your lottery winnings. In that case, it's normally the name of the trust that gets published, rather than your name. But people can still do a little research to find out that you own that trust. Still, it might prevent opportunists from hunting you down to ask for a handout. If you're unlucky enough to win in California, though, there's nothing you can do. In that state, the names of lottery winners are considered public record by law, and there's nothing you can do to stop it being published. You know what else is considered a public record? Details of prisoners. And that's not the only way you'll be treated like a criminal if you win the jackpot. Number 9. You will be interrogated. Wait, what? Why would the lottery interrogate you like you're a criminal just for submitting a claim to the jackpot? Well, firstly, they don't call it an interrogation. They call it an interview. But they also don't call you a winner if you submit a claim. That's because they don't trust anyone claiming to be the winner of the jackpot. If you've won a big jackpot, you'll be interviewed by security and law enforcement, not just lottery officials. But what do they ask you while they're trying to determine if you're the real winner? Well, it's pretty simple stuff, in a way. They'll ask questions about whether you went for a quick pick number selection or whether you chose your own numbers, for example. That's because that information is recorded every time you buy a ticket, and the lottery officials will know the answer because of the unique serial number of the winning ticket. But the information isn't given to the public, so they expect only the real winner to know. In other words, you better take note of some important information about how you bought the ticket just in case you win a jackpot. Think being interrogated is the worst part of the process? Think again. Number 8. You have to plan for your death. Winning the lottery should be a celebration, but I imagine that the party mood is ruined a bit when you're told you need to plan for your own death. Why would you be asked to do that before they give you your prize? Well, if you've chosen the annuity payment option, the lottery wants to know who should be paid in the event that you die within the next 29 years. That's how long the yearly payments will be made for. So, you're told by the lottery that you need to nominate someone as your beneficiary. The Mega Millions specifically will keep paying the prize out as scheduled, while the Powerball works a little differently. You can also nominate your estate as the beneficiary if you die. But be warned, your family will be charged a huge estate tax if you die. And that's true if you choose the lump sum too. There is insurance available to cover the estate tax, and we recommend getting it so your family isn't saddled with a huge tax bill they can't afford while they're also heartbroken over your death. And yes, we agree, all of this is a bit of a downer. After that, they've probably decided to hand over the prize. But it's not as simple as waiting for the money to arrive in your bank account. Number 7. You have to collect your prize in person. You have to personally take your ticket down to the lottery office to claim your jackpot. That's because Mega Millions rules say all winners are personally responsible for working out that they're the lucky ticket holder. If you don't show up with the winning ticket in your hand, then they're not going to come find you and give you the prize. By the time this happens, all the Mega Millions officials know is where the ticket was bought. They even know which store it was bought from, and the store will get a cash bonus for selling the winning ticket. But they're not going to try and trace any ticket holders. But there's another side to this part of the process. This rule also means you can't send someone else to claim your prize for you. And honestly, you wouldn't want to. That's because if someone else walks in with your winning ticket, they can claim it as their own. And that has happened in the past. A war veteran in London recently went public to say that his $4 million winning ticket was stolen by a clerk at the store where he checked the ticket. But the lottery paid out the winnings to the clerk who stole the ticket. Even after the veteran told the lottery he bought the ticket, they wouldn't give him the money, saying they weren't willing to pay out the same prize twice. The thief still has the money, and the veteran never saw a cent. The only thing you can try to prevent this is to sign the ticket as soon as you buy it. That makes it a lot harder for someone to steal it. But still, never let anyone else touch your winning ticket. But a thief isn't the only thing that might prevent you from getting your hands on your jackpot. Number 6. You must have your ticket to claim your prize. Do you know you bought the winning ticket but can't seem to find it anywhere? Bad luck. That means you're not getting the money. This might sound obvious, but there's a myth that the lottery can find out that you're the rightful owner of the winning ticket. But in reality, the Mega Millions makes it very clear that they're not responsible for lost or stolen tickets. If you don't bring your ticket in to claim it, they're not going to help you. And that's a no exceptions policy. The only time they ever seem to investigate the holder of a winning ticket is when a police inquiry is started. But that won't happen if you've just lost your ticket or can't prove it was stolen, which mostly you can't. And you'd be surprised how often tickets are lost. One way around this is to buy your tickets online, which is possible in most states. Those tickets are automatically attached to your account, so they're not as easy to lose as a physical paper lottery ticket. But they're still not 100% safe. In 2021, British couple Rachel Kennedy and Liam McCrohan were supposed to become multimillionaires. They'd set up a subscription online, so their lottery tickets were bought automatically every week with their numbers. When they checked the draw one day, they were stunned when they realized their numbers had all come up for a jackpot worth a whopping $228 million. Only when they checked their account, their ticket wasn't there. It turned out a glitch on the website meant their subscription failed that week for the first time, and the ticket was never purchased. Even though they had proof of their numbers attached to the subscription, they didn't have an actual ticket, and they weren't legally entitled to claim the jackpot. It's tragic, but it happens a lot. Even keeping it with you at all times isn't a guarantee you won't lose it. One player in California lost her $26 million lottery ticket when she accidentally left it in her jeans pocket while doing laundry. We recommend buying a ticket and keeping it in a safe. Think having the ticket is enough? Nope. You might have missed a crucial bit of information hiding on that ticket. Number 5. Your ticket has an expiration date. Did you know that lottery tickets have an expiration date? You can normally find them on the back of your ticket. But that's a pretty weird thing to have on a lottery ticket, right? I mean, it's not milk, it's not going to go off, except it does in a terrible way. See, if you don't claim your jackpot before that date, you can't have the money. No exceptions. The claim period is different in each jurisdiction, but it can be anywhere from just 90 days to 1 year. So if you have any tickets that are more than a year old, don't even bother to check the numbers. You might think this isn't a big problem. After all, who's winning the jackpot and not jumping to claim their prize straight away? Well, a lot of people actually. In the US, over $2 billion in lottery winnings go unclaimed every year. That means loads of people are missing out on claiming winning tickets all the time. And sure, some of that is small prizes that add up. But that would never reach $2 billion on its own. In fact, the largest ever unclaimed prize was a whopping $77 million. Even if you checked all your old lottery tickets now and realized you were the holder of that jackpot winning ticket, you couldn't claim the prize. That's because the ticket expired in 2011. So it's important to always check your tickets when the draw happens. If you forget and don't check it in time, you might be missing out. That's especially true now. If you bought a Mega Millions ticket in Florida and you haven't checked the numbers, you might be missing out on $1.5 billion. But claiming your ticket on time might be even more difficult than you think. Number 4. You must claim your prize in the state where you purchased the ticket. That's right, there's a shocking loophole in the law. Let's say you've just checked your winning ticket and discovered you're the owner of a huge jackpot. You obviously want to stay anonymous, but because you're a Texas resident, you think you're all right. Texas is one of the states that allows lottery winners to remain anonymous. So that means you're safe, right? Not if you bought that ticket while visiting another state. Your state of residence doesn't matter in this case. You must abide by the laws of the state where you bought the ticket. That changes everything, right? It's bad news for anyone from a state that lets you stay anonymous who bought their ticket while traveling. But it's good news if you live in a state like California. It means there is one loophole that could help you stay anonymous. The states closest to California that allow you to remain anonymous are Wyoming and Arizona. So you might want to take a little trip next time there's a big jackpot up for grabs. But what about the $1.58 billion ticket waiting to be claimed right now? Well, that's a little more complicated. They already know that the ticket was bought in Florida, so the winner will have to follow Florida state lottery rules. And they're pretty interesting. Florida is one of 2 American states, along with Colorado, that allows a kind of partial anonymity. In Florida, winners of more than 250 grand are allowed to remain anonymous, but only for 90 days after collecting their prize. After that, the Mega Millions will be required by law to give your name, city of residence, and the amount you won to anyone who requests it, including the media. Your phone number and street address can remain private. It might be a little better than some states, but it's still not great. Sure, you can get a head start so you can pick a new house to move to before everyone looking for money arrives on your doorstep. But that kinda sounds like you'll be rushing to make important decisions within 90 days, which is never a good thing. It feels like if you followed all those steps, you've definitely earned the money, but you might never get what you expected. Number 3. You might have to share your prize. Have you ever wondered what happens when more than one person wins the jackpot? It's so difficult to actually win the jackpot, you'd think there would only ever be one winner. But sometimes there's more than one person that choose the same numbers. When there are 2 jackpot winning tickets, the prize is split in half and shared. If there are 3 winners, it's split into 3, and so it goes on. You'll all get equal amounts, but none of you will get the full jackpot you were playing for. It's gotta be pretty disappointing when you actually win the lottery against all odds and then find out that you're only getting half because someone else won too. Obviously, you expect to split the prize if you bought the ticket as part of a group, but not if you bought it on your own. We have a little advice to avoid this though. Try to include a few numbers higher than 31 in your selection. That's because most people will only use their family members' birthdays as their lucky numbers. So a lot of tickets will only have numbers up to 31. Picking a higher number means you're less likely to have the same numbers as the majority of tickets. But even then, it's not impossible that you'll have to share. In the case of this $1.58 billion jackpot, we already know there was only one winning ticket. That means the lucky winner gets that huge jackpot all to themselves. But even then, you're not gonna get the whole jackpot. Number 2, you must choose how you get your money. And choosing how you get your money is kind of like choosing how much money you're really gonna get. Shockingly, when you're told the size of a jackpot, that's not actually the amount you're gonna win. The advertised jackpot is the amount that will be paid out over 29 years if you choose the annuity option. If you choose the lump sum, which is definitely the fun option, then your prize becomes a lot smaller. Why does this happen? Well, when you choose the annuity option, the lottery takes your prize and kind of invests it for you. Then they pay it out to you over the years, plus the interest it earned. But keep in mind that the value of money shrinks, and the interest might not be worth enough to make up for inflation, which means you still don't really get the same amount of money advertised in the jackpot if you pick annuity payments. That's because you won't be able to buy as much stuff when you finally get your hands on it. But if you go for the lump sum, your jackpot drops in value immediately. If you're the winner of the $1.58 billion jackpot and you choose the lump sum, you'll really only take home about $783.3 million. It's a lot of money, but I think we can all agree that it's a lot less than $1.5 billion. And that's only the first time the jackpot will shrink. Number 1. You must hand over a portion of your jackpot to the government. You need to pay a ton of tax if you win the lottery in the US. The bigger your jackpot, the higher the percentage of your winnings belongs to the government. Right off the top, an automatic 24% is taken off the prize for federal taxes. But with this jackpot being the second largest payout to a single winner in history, it's more likely that the total percentage owed is a whopping 37%. That means if you've won the $1.58 billion jackpot and you choose the lump sum, you'll only actually receive $493.5 million. That's right, you're taking home less than a third of what you thought you'd won. If you take the annuity option, it's not much better. The annuity payments will start at about $52.6 million per year, but that's before taxes. After losing the 37%, and yes, before you ask, that is the tax bracket even if you choose the annuity payments, then the payments drop to only $33.1 million. And yes, it's a lot of money, but it's nowhere near what you would have been expecting. And that's just the start. There are all kinds of other hidden taxes that the winner might have to pay, including state tax depending where they live, and gift tax if they want to spread some of their good fortune. Luckily, in this case, the state of Florida doesn't tax lottery winners. So that's one silver lining. Do you think the Mega Millions rules are crazy? Well, there are loads more insane rules you have to follow if you win the lottery anywhere in the world. Want to see our picks for the most insane rules out there? Then click to watch.